Lamb. It all started in the spring, when the fields were being plowed and sowed. Nikolai Tarasovich and his colleague and friend had started their usual work that evening, plowing a large field during the night shift. However, there was a problem with fuel, and Nikolai and his friend decided that the latter would deliver the necessary fuel to the field on a motorcycle by midnight. Nikolai had only enough diesel fuel for a few hours. They agreed, and Nikolai calmly started plowing. Having worked on the remaining fuel until almost 1 in the morning, the tractor stalled. While waiting for his friend, who was supposed to show up any minute, Nikolai smoked, looking out in the darkness for the headlights of an approaching motorcycle. After waiting for about an hour, Nikolai Tarasovich decided to go to his friend on foot and find out for himself why he was late. The friend's house was only 1.5 kilometers from the field. The night was unusually dark, without a moon or stars, but Nikolai, guided by the street lamps beyond the field, was not afraid of getting lost and confidently walked towards the illuminated street. Suddenly, a plaintive bleating was heard nearby, and a second later a lamb appeared from the darkness. Small, snow-white, and, running up to the tractor driver, pressed itself against his legs. Nikolai Tarasovich was a very kind person, so he decided to take the lamb with him and bring it to the village to return the loss to its owner. Taking the lamb in his arms, the tractor driver was surprised by its weight. The animal was just tiny, but so heavy that it took a strong man a lot of effort to carry it. Heading towards the illuminated street, after a while Nikolai noticed that no matter how long he walked, the light of the street lamps did not get any closer. Seriously worried, but not letting go of the lamb, the man walked aimlessly like that for some time. It was getting light, and the first roosters crowed loudly in the village. At these sounds, the lamb began to desperately break free from the tractor driver's hands, and, having freed himself, ran away several meters. Nikolai Tarasovich, squatting down, called the lamb. "Well, what's wrong? Come here, little one." And then a rough, guttural female voice was heard from the lamb, which mimicked the man. "Come here, little one." Nikolai almost lost consciousness from horror, and ran headlong towards the village, where he found himself just a few minutes later. He immediately remembered the wives' tales of his fellow villagers about witches who, taking the form of animals, confused and led their victims in circles. And not everyone was as lucky as he was. But this was only the beginning. In the following days, Nikolai began to notice strange things. Unexplained phenomena began to occur in his house. Objects moved on their own, doors opened and closed for no apparent reason, and at night he heard whispers and laughter coming from an empty room. One night, when Nikolai was lying in bed, he felt something cold touch his leg. He opened his eyes and saw a lamb standing at the foot of the bed. But this time the lamb looked different. Its eyes were glowing with an ominous fire, and its wool was covered in blood. Nikolai tried to get up, but his body seemed paralyzed. The lamb slowly approached him and, turning into an old woman with long gray hair and sharp teeth, bent over him. "You shouldn't have taken me," the old woman hissed, and her voice echoed throughout the room. "Now you are mine." From then on, every night Nikolai woke up in horror, seeing the faces of those he had disturbed. They haunted him, reminding him of his mistake. He tried to get rid of them, but it was useless. They always came back, and their hatred grew stronger. One day, when Nikolai was walking down the street, he saw the lamb appear again from the darkness and head towards him. Nikolai tried to run away, but his feet seemed to be rooted to the ground. The lamb was slowly approaching, and its eyes were burning brighter and brighter. When it came very close, Nikolai felt the cold penetrate his soul, and he realized that the lamb had returned for him. Now Nikolai knew that it was impossible to disturb the peace of the dead, and no one could help him.